Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe right now, right here to our channel, Watchbox Reviews on YouTube. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can purchase it right here, right now, on thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing one of my favorite Zenith complications of all time, a 2010 model year debut with an annual calendar module by Ludwig Oxlin and Zenith El Primero base by the iconic manufacturer of Leloc. This is the Zenith Captain Winsor annual calendar. More specifically, this is the model often known as the museum watch because, as a collaboration between Oxlin, a curator of the museum, and Zenith, some of the proceeds from the original sale of this specific dial variant went to the Museum of Horology in Leloc. That said, you don't have to know anything about the background of its manufacturer, its complication engineer, or the beneficiary of sales to love the look and functionality. At 42 millimeters in stainless steel, it fits easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. It's full-sized, not oversized, and you can see that to good effect. 42 across the round of the case from 9 to 3, not including the crown. It's reasonably slim at 14.1 millimeters. You will find that it fits easily underneath a jacket cuff, if not the absolute tightest of shirt sleeves. A lug-to-lug, it's 50.2 millimeters, which is excellent for a smaller male wrist of 14 to 16.5 centimeters circumference. It's helped by the fact that the lugs themselves are rather short and tightly downturned. Moreover, as there are curved spring bars used in the strap, you can move the strap without any encumbrance. It doesn't want to flare and fight a small wrist, so it wears easily. You'll also note that it is substantial, so it's a good thing that there's no stiffness or fight to this strap. With a thick construction and a sheer profile revealing the layers of leather. You'll see on the top it's a semi-gloss large rectangular scale alligator leather in black with a monotone stitch. On the underside, thoughtfully, Zenith has attached a strip of natural rubber. Supple and soft against the skin, it also helps to isolate the leather from the moisture, heat, sweat, and oils of the wrist. There is a rather deluxe deployant clasp here. Now, it's true that the newer Zenith clasp, this is the older model, uses triggers for release. While that one might be a little bit more secure when closed, this one is far more substantial. There's just more metal. It's a more massive and imposing piece. Give me this one any day. It's beautiful, it's big, not oversized, but it exudes quality, and I appreciate that feature in any luxury watch or luxury watch component. You will note that the case is rather fluid with sensuous compound curves and a wonderful distortion-free finish that allows you to see my orange t-shirt, my camera, and yours truly. The timepiece featuring a wonderfully sensuous but limited case profile. The only real nuance is the countersunk bezel that sits between two peaks of the lugs to allow the watch to be a little bit slimmer, and there is a well-chosen satin swatch on the hoods of the lugs to break up the mass of otherwise undifferentiated polished metal. It's the Chronomaster case we've come to know and love in recent years. Let's give ourselves a bit more light and get a bit closer. So this is the museum dial, as this model did offer some amount of the proceeds from its sale to the Museum of Horology in Leloc. It's a sensational looking dial. Diamond polished and hand applied applique hour indices. Outboard there's an anthracite metallic chapter ring that's used to read the minutes as well as chronograph seconds. Inboard you can see a beautifully metallic grained satin finished blue hour track that is matched by a 60-minute chronograph register at 6 o'clock. I actually prefer this over a 30-minute register and an hours register. You do lose the hours register with the annual calendar, but I find being able to read minutes distinctly at a glance makes a chronograph more useful, and oftentimes when you are timing intervals, they're less than an hour anyway. Maybe that's the reason why Zinn has modified so many Valjoux 7750s to feature center seconds and a 60-minute mono counter. Now the center of the dial is a sort of pyramid stamped imprint with sunken 60 seconds and a distinct register for chronograph minutes as well as the day and the month. Aperture display for the calendar, you'll note that it is an annual calendar as declared at 12 o'clock on the dial. A bit of excess text, but you'll be happy you have it as it makes it easy to read the date. It is an everyday complication. You need to adjust it only once annually per the name during the jump from February to March, and it's quite easy to do so as the calendar features a quick set. You drive the date with the quick set, the date drives the month, and then you turn the hands to adjust the day of the week. The chronograph is a Zenith El Primero, which means automatic winding, 50-hour power reserve, 10 beats per second, 36,000 vibrations per hour, 29 joules, automatic winding with bidirectional action. The 50-hour reserve is impressive given that it's driving a complication that's power intensive, as well as a high beat escapement. Now you can disable the chronograph, but the annual calendar drive is always in play. The movement is impressive because Ludwig Oxlin, being a bit of a complications maestro who once restored clocks for the Vatican, has a very strong handle on calendar complications, and thus only 9 additional pieces are added to the base El Primero to create the annual calendar. Impressive stuff, and you get a little bit of independent horology cool in a mass market product, as Ludwig Oxlin now builds under his own name, Ox und Junior, with his son out of Lucerne. Now you'll see everything else about the movement is attractive. An array of colors: silver, gold, violet, blue. The screws that appear to be blue are blue the old-fashioned way, with kiln-fired oxidation, heat, not dyed. Polished screws are used for assembly of the mechanism, and blued screws are used for tuning of the mechanism. You will note that there is a column wheel, the traditional crisp mechanism for actuating a chronograph, a lateral clutch, and you can see everything. You'll also note that you can observe the recentering hammers of the chronograph against the hard cams at center when you reset everything. The El Primero has always been a very open and physically attractive chronograph caliber. If you look at many automatic chronographs, there's nothing to see. Here, you've got plenty to see. I actually recommend a loop, even though this is a machine-finished caliber for the most part. It's beautifully detailed and thoughtfully laid out. If you're into machines, you'll be into this case back. 50 meters water resistant. It's more of a highly water resistant dress watch with a sporty bent than a sports watch outright. Handsome, versatile, with the king of complications in the chronograph and the everyday complication in the complete calendar annual. You can see and make this one yours on the Watchbox.